Hello and welcome to the Blue Water Running Podcast. I'm your host, Maren, and this podcast features and celebrates the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from the Blue Water area of Michigan. Eli Bickel, a North Branch High School junior, joins us to discuss his accomplishments this year in the shot put and the discus. Eli earned All-State in the discus by finishing as the runner-up at the D2 state finals on May 31st with a new personal best of 180 feet 9 inches. He also finished 10th in the shot put in 52 feet 2.25 inches. Eli's had a season of massive improvements. Last year, his shot put best was 47 feet 11 inches, and his discus was 149 feet. So he's thrown significantly farther than he did as a sophomore. His shot put best now stands at 56 feet 2 inches after this year. Eli holds North Branch school records, which he set this season in both the shot and disc, as well as the Blue Water Area Conference records. We'll chat with Eli about his training, his recent performances, his climb atop the podium for the first time, and his goals looking ahead. We'll also get to know him as an athlete and a person outside of track and field. Thanks for joining me. Welcome to the podcast. I'm excited to talk to you about all things throwing, so we're going to dive in. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. Well, first of all, let me congratulate you. Huge achievement at the state meet. So how did it feel to stand on the podium as an all-state athlete for the first time?
It was awesome. It felt like it was a big accomplishment. Like all the hard work I had paid off. And going, like, when I stepped on the podium, I was thinking I still had shot, but I was like, I made it here. This is my goal at the beginning of the season was to make All-State in disc, and I did it, so I didn't really care how shot ended up. So it was exciting.
Yeah, I bet. Did you do anything special to celebrate?
Not really. We were just trying to get home after the meet.
Yeah, it's a drive.
Exhausting, so.
Well, did you get anything special you like to eat? I mean, did you have...
We got some Mexican on the way home, so that was fun.
Okay. Well, let's take a step back. So we're starting with your biggest achievement thus far, which is your all-state podium finish in the discus. So let's go backwards and tell me how you first got into throwing, how you became part of the track and field team, what drew you to the sport.
So it wasn't really what drew me. I was a baseball player for a long time, and I got to the point where I was just not good at baseball anymore. So I quit baseball, and middle school I joined the track team because all of my older siblings threw, a lot of my cousins threw. So I'm like, well, might as well do it if I'm not doing anything in the spring. So I joined, and it was great from there on. So.
Yeah. Now, is Aubrey Deshutsky your cousin? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're both very good throwers. Obviously,
Yeah.
She also is all-state in both. Yeah, in both events. So do you have a family secret? Like, what's going on over there that makes you both so good?
I think it's because one of my older cousins, Mackenzie, she threw at North Branch and then went on to throw at Grace College.
Okay.
And she went on to hold their indoor shot put record. And she is about as tall as Aubrey. And if you can believe it, she is skinnier than Aubrey.
All right.
And she went on to throw, so it's kind of just like everybody threw, and it kind of just like, I think it's just genetically we're just kind of gifted at it, and we're just naturally kind of good at it. So
yeah. Well, obviously you're good at it, both of you. Well, I'm curious how tall you are.
I am 6'6" in shoes.
Okay.
6'5.5" without shoes.
Okay, so I've noticed with a lot of the pro throwers, it's not so much how big they are. Like, I'm assuming you know who Valerie Allman is.
Yes.
Yeah, she's pretty tall though. So I feel like your strength and your height might help a little more than necessarily your weight. So, well, let's talk about your training. So talk us through a typical week of training. I know your season's kind of done now, but if you were in season, what would that look like for you as you go through a week, including perhaps a meet that you might be preparing for?
So it was really different a lot from last year. So this year I went into the week. So we had Monday practice, and then Tuesday we had our league meets, which I wasn't too worried about. I didn't want to treat it as like a practice, but I didn't want to treat it as like a serious meet. I wanted to be able to work on stuff and like actually see how I'm improving on it. So I went in Monday. Monday was my big technical day. I'd go in, get some throws, and then my coach Margaret would tell me, hey, work on this. So I'd get a bunch of throws working on that specific key point that I'm trying to hit, and wouldn't really put a lot of power at the end of my throw, just trying to hit that and then just release the implement. So that was my big key day. And then Tuesday, we'd go to the league meets, and that would be where I'd try to put more effort behind it and try to like work it all in with full power. And then I'd come back on Wednesday, and Wednesday is after the Tuesday meet. I'd watch all my throws over and over and over again and see, did I do it right? Did I hit the point that I was trying to hit? Like earlier in the season for shot put, I was out of the back. I'm trying to shift over my left as I come around to the front, and there'd be times I'm like, did I hit it? So I'd watch my film over and over and over and over, and then I'd go into Wednesday, and Wednesday would be my big. If I did it well, Wednesday would be what I call a slam session. I would I'd get my wrist strap on, and I'd just throw full throws for 45 minutes, and it'd just be a big throwing day.
Okay.
And then Thursday would be right before the invitational meets, and that would be an easy day. So I'd go in, throw 10 throws of disc, 10 throws of shot, call it a day. And then go into Friday, be all ready, be relaxed, and then just have a good day.
So, do you have any specific plyometrics, weight training, etc., routines or programs that you use specifically for throwing?
Not really. So our football coach is a big guy with speed and agility. So he does a lot of plyometric based lifts.
Okay.
So I'm training for football, but it's also helped me with track. Because my freshman year, our gym teacher was a powerlifting coach. So we did a lot of squat, bench, deadlift. Where now with this new coach, Sakura, we've been doing a lot more power cleans, hang cleans, a lot more explosive type stuff. And that has helped me so much. So yeah.
Yeah, clearly. Well, let's talk about your growth and put it in perspective for the listener. So, and you can correct me if I miss anything. So your best shot in ninth grade was 41.875.
Yep.
Discus was 136 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Then as a sophomore, 47.115 and 149 feet in the discus. So just this season as a junior, you've thrown almost 10 feet further in the shot put, close to 32 feet further in the discus. That's huge. So, what are the factors that you would attribute your improvement to? I know you mentioned some of your agility and strength training, but what else do you think has really made a difference for you?
I think it's mainly just the repetitions I had. So in shot put, I first started doing the spin halfway through my freshman year. So I went back and watched some of my freshman throws, and it was ugly. And last year's throws were not pretty either. So I think it finally clicked this off season on how to be smooth through the ring and slowly speed up to have all your energy just transferred right into the shot at the very end. So I think that helped. And then once I got that down, the disc kind of followed with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I, yeah.
Well, I think it's awesome that you're watching film because one of the things people assume about runners specifically is
Mm-hmm.
that they're all just good at running and that their form can improve, but that is not true. There's definitely better form, more efficient running
Yeah.
form. And the same would be true for throwing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you do that.
Yeah. And that's one thing. So I know one of the parents was asking my dad because his son was been throwing with me, and he's just kind of been on this consistent mark all 3 years. And I've had some big jumps, and we were talking about the way home from one of our meets, and it's just like we have an iPad that records all like film and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just watch my film over and over and over and over and over and over. So I think my PR that I had at Croslex before states, I think I watched that at least 100 times. Just
Well,
trying to figure out how I can recreate it.
yeah, it's paying off. It's
Yeah,
definitely working. Now, you do not throw during indoor track and field, correct?
correct.
So how do you prepare in the off season, or do you just not throw in the off season and do another sport, or just take a break?
Yeah, so off season, so during the fall, I don't really do much because I'm focused on football. And then in the winter, I don't really have much time because I dual sport basketball and wrestling, and
Okay.
that takes up a lot of time and effort. So I'll go to practices from 4:30 to 9:30, and then on the weekends, Saturdays, I'll have full with wrestling meets, so I don't really have time to throw. I'm just going, going, going.
Hmm. Do you
And
feel like that helps you get a bit of a mental and physical break? I know some athletes who do a winter sport find that it helps them. They feel like they would burn out. Would you like to be throwing? You just don't have time.
I would love to be throwing, but I don't have time. And but on the other hand, wrestling has helped me so much with like coordination, how to move your feet, and like we have a freshman thrower who plays basketball, and I was telling him like he just needs to just if he starts wrestling, he'll get coordinated and he'll know how to move feet, use your weight to
Hmm.
do what you want to do. So that helped me a bunch.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, what is something that people don't realize about the skill or the technique that you're using behind your shot put versus the discus? So, talk a little bit about how those differ.
Well, I think the main thing is it doesn't matter how strong you are. You don't have to be strong. Last year we had a senior who was benching like 350 and was squatting well over 400. And you see those numbers and think, "Oh, he must be throwing far," but he didn't throw far at all. It's not really about the strength; it's about the technique more than the strength, especially in shot. I feel like
Hmm.
if you have a good technical throw, the strength will just come right with it, and you'll just toss it out there. Where in discus, I think the main problem is people think it's like how like you use your arm to throw. I don't really use my arm at all. It's all in the legs and the hips. It's how fast can you get your hips turned quicker than your shoulders. So it's like a rubber band and it just your arm's just like a slingshot.
Hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, I'm curious what specific items for equipment that you like. I know there's throwing shoes. I've seen you use chalk, so I'm assuming
Yes.
that's something you like. So, talk to me about that.
So I go to these meets and everybody asks me why I use chalk because they don't find it helpful. But on like rainy meets or rainy days in practice, you'll get the disc where it's super wet and it just slips out of your hand and falls out. Where I have bunches of towels and chalk, so I can wipe down my disc, chalk it up, and then it keeps the same grip in your hand every time you throw, no matter the weather condition. So that's a big help, especially in discus.
Hmm.
And then shot, it's kind of the same thing because if you go in, it's like a super hot day and your face is all sweaty, the shot will grip to your skin and it feels like you're ripping skin off every time you throw.
Ooh,
So that's also why I like chalk and shot.
yeah, that doesn't sound pleasant.
No,
So, question, have you ever had to replace a shot put or a discus because it became like too beat up?
ooh, that's good. I don't think so.
Okay, I was curious. Have you ever thrown a discus and it just broke?
No, not really. So
Okay.
actually, my discs are not mine. They're my cousin Drake's, who he was our last All-Stater in discus.
Oh.
So both my white and my black discs were his that he threw in high school. So and they're really nice. So I used them, and I don't know how much longer they're gonna last because I've been throwing them a lot.
Well, it seems like they got maybe a little good luck on them, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, that's a good segue into the next question. Do you have any pre-meet rituals or superstitions that you feel like you need to follow to throw well?
Not I want to say necessarily, but I don't think it's like a superstition, but my big thing is I can't go into the ring stressed out or I feel like I can't be focused. I just have to be loose and goose and just having fun. just for me to just relax and throw far. So one of my big things is I'll go talk to other guys, like Zach Haywood from Yale. I'll go up
Mm-hmm.
and talk to him every meet I'm there, just be in a good mood. Or Jerry Zhang from Emily City. Me and him, we just talk and talk and talk. So it just gets me in a good mood.
Okay.
And then also, I think a big help of that is my teammate Corbin, who I took with me to states, just to help me calm down and not be too caught up in the moment. So we were out there just having fun, and I was throwing far, so I'm just not really too worried about it.
Is he the guy that brought your discus back to you when you threw at Croslex and broke your
Yes.
score? Okay, yeah, and he had like a thumbs
Yes.
up in one of my pictures.
Yep.
Hey, okay, shout
Yep.
out to him.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, do you have a pump up song that you like to listen to? I had a very specific
Oh,
one when I was a runner, so I'm curious if you have something.
I don't have one. I have a few
Okay.
that just kind of keep me in a loose mood, and if you see me occasionally, you'll kind of catch me hitting some dance moves before, like over by myself. So I'll just kind of just be walking around, just kind of getting loose. So I like the "Build Me Up, Buttercup," "Brown
Mm.
Eyed Girl," "Dancing in the Moonlight," "Ain't No Mountain High Enough," "I'm a Believer," "Wake Me Up Before You Go," and "Uptown Girl" by Billy Joel.
Well, those would be considered oldies now, I think.
Yeah,
Pretty
I think
close.
they would. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I love to hear some various musical tastes.
Yeah.
All right, favorite post meet. So you're done throwing. Favorite post meet snack.
Oh, this year it's been my mom's chicken salad, or my mom gets chicken salad from our North Ranch bakery, and that's my favorite.
Okay.
So
Are
good.
you chicken salad with celery or no celery?
Celery. I like
Okay.
I like a little bit of crunch, but I also have it with like wheat thin crackers. So it's just
Ooh, yeah. See, I'm a no celery, but I like dried cherries in my chicken salad. I like the
My
sweet.
mom. Yeah, my mom puts dried cranberries.
Oh, that'd be good too. Yeah.
So
Okay, so it's a this or that question, or more satisfying for you, a PR or a perfect technique throw?
that's a difficult one.
Well, I
I
feel like
think
they kind of go together. Like if you had one, you'd have
yeah,
the other, but
yeah. But I would say I'd rather have a PR than a perfect technique throw. Just for the reason that if I get a perfect technique throw and it doesn't go as far, then I'm sitting here saying, well, what did I do wrong? Why did it not go as far?
it makes
Where if I
sense.
have a PR, I can say, oh, I did this and this wrong, which means if I get those two right, I can throw even further. And that just yeah, that
That's a
was
good
I
mindset.
that was the big thing going into when I first hit the 160 mark, because I was at Flint Powers and I hit a 151, and then I hit one perfect and sent it out of bounds. So I'm like, okay, I can throw further. So the next me, I went with mindset, I can throw further than a 151, and I did. And it's kind of just how all my PRs have been. Is before that I've thrown super far when it didn't count. I'm like, oh, I can throw really far, and
Hmm.
then I did. Like before states, it was my warm up. My warm up probably was close to a 190.
Oh, wow.
So it was a bomb. And then
Yeah,
and
for
then
sure.
I'm like, because I was in a slump for discus and wasn't throwing far, the like not crazy far. And then the meet before I threw 169, I'm like, okay, hopefully I can throw good. And then I threw almost a 190, and I'm like, okay, I can throw far. And so I
Yeah.
just relaxed and put my first one out there, and it was good.
So your first throw was your farthest.
Yes.
Okay. Nice. Well, that gets it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you could go throw anywhere, what would be your dream competition or venue that you would love to compete at?
Oh, I think it's kind of easy, but it's Hayward Field in Eugene,
Yep.
Oregon.
Hmm.
It's a classic.
Yep, for sure. I know it's on my bucket list. Not to compete, just
Yeah.
to go.
Or I think the other one would be They had a Diamond League meet for shot put out in Rome.
Oh, wow.
It was
Rome,
an
huh?
it was an awesome some facility. That would also be a cool place to throw.
Yeah, that would be. Well, is there a throwing event you've seen on the pro or collegiate stage, like hammer, javelin, that you'd like to try?
Definitely hammer. I feel like I'd like javelin, but I think all these javelin throwers are skinny and I'm not too skinny.
Well, you never know.
But yeah,
You could still throw it
I feel
far.
like I feel like hammer would be pretty fun.
Hmm. Yeah, I like to watch that from afar, far, far away.
Far, yeah, I know. I would I would not want to be one of the field judges out there
Mm-mm,
standing.
mm-mm. No, you check a text and, well, that's all you remember.
Yeah,
Okay, so I know that you have committed to MSU for football, yes?
yes.
Okay. Are you looking to throw in college, or is that just not doable?
I I'd love to. That would be awesome.
Okay.
But we'll just have to see on like the schedules and everything.
Hmm.
And even if I don't like throw in a meet, I can always they have good facilities. Their track facilities right next to the big football facility, so I can always go over and throw and just keep my form down. So after college, I can still throw professionally
Right. Have
because I'm still.
have you had any contact with their track coach there?
No, not really. I've kind of just been in the football mindset, and then if it does happen, it'll happen.
Gotcha.
Kind of.
Okay. Well, you still have a season left, so what are you hoping to achieve next year in 2026? Like, kind of, I know you just wrapped up and you're maybe taking a quick little break, which is good, but
Yeah.
I'm sure that as you finish, you've probably got something you're thinking about wanting to do next year. So you want to share that with us?
Well, next year is kind of weird. So my plan is to report to Michigan State early and do their spring ball. So that would mean I leave in January from high school. If I get all my credits in, I'll leave high school in January
Hmm.
and be at Michigan State starting then. So I'll start college next January. So
Oh,
I don't think I'll have a throwing season next year.
wow. That's a very different trajectory than most athletes follow.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I might not have it next year. But I did qualify for the New Balance Nationals in Philadelphia. So I'm still training, hoping, not hoping, I'm going there, still training so I can throw good there.
Hmm.
Hopefully that will be my last meet. So
Are you doing both events or just discus?
just discus.
Okay.
Shot put
Gotcha.
qualification was like 58 feet, so it was
Oh man.
pretty far.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Okay, so let's talk about you outside of the ring. What are your hobbies? What are your interests? What do you like to do in your spare time when you do not have schoolwork or athletic commitments?
So I actually live on a farm, so that's takes up most of my time outside of track, and I love it. It's just being outside all the time, getting some fresh air. And I do
Mhm.
4-H, so now's the time of year where I'm training my animals to get ready for the summer and all the shows.
Okay.
And then other than that, it's a lot of hanging out with my family. All my cousins, we're super close, and it's awesome.
I love that. I feel like sometimes I was born in the wrong century. I mean, as great as technology and air conditioning and antibiotics all are, I I'm a very simple person who could probably have been a farmer and just been
Yeah.
happy to be outside. So, yeah. What kind of animals do you raise and train?
So we live on a commercial sheep farm,
Okay.
so that's just um, breeding them,
Hmm.
growing them up, and then selling them. That's where most of the money comes from. And then it's for 4-H. I'd show pigs.
Okay.
So we'll buy the pigs in April, grow them, train them, walk them for 4 months, I think, and then in end of July is when our fair is. So I'll show them at the Emily City Fair.
Gotcha. Well, I learned a lot about showing pigs because all of my cousins who lived in Indiana were involved in showing,
Mm.
well, they showed their steer as well, but walking them's this whole thing. Like it's a whole process, and man, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, people don't realize how much effort it is. It's not just buying a pig and it's
Yeah.
walk. It's every day out there for quite a while.
Yep. Well, my experience with pigs is I eat them and that's about it.
Yeah,
So
no,
kudos to the people who work hard.
that's the best part of it.
Okay, well, ham or bacon, what's your side?
Bacon
Okay, same.
all day,
I'm team bacon.
all day.
Yep. All right. Well, one last question. We'll wrap up our conversation, and that is if you could meet any professional athlete, and it does not have to be a track and field athlete, from the past or the present, they could be living or not, who would you pick and why?
I have two answers.
All right.
So first one's a track and field. It's Ryan Krauser,
Mm,
just because he's a big guy and he kind of lives out in the country, loves fishing. So I just think it'd be fun
hmm
hang out with him. Also, just sitting down and talking with Larry Bird. I think that would be very interesting.
I love Larry Bird. He's from my generation.
He is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, I should say I watched him when I was a kid. He was already
Yeah.
playing professionally, but oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And my dad, my whole family on my dad's side, they're all Hoosiers. Like they live in Indiana.
Mhm.
Some are
Yep.
Purdue fans, but some are Hoosier fans, and so lots of basketball love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So who's your vote? Larry Bird or Michael Jordan?
Oh, I think Michael Jordan's better.
Okay. There's
And
some differing opinions, so I was curious.
yeah.
All right. Well, Eli, it's been awesome to get to know you more personally.
Yeah.
Lots of interesting things for you coming up in the future. Man, you've got some big things that are about to happen, but
Mhm.
we're going to keep an eye on you for nationals, see how you throw, and hopefully all goes well and you can keep continuing that trajectory beyond because you got lots of talent.
Yes, I hope too.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast and chatting with me.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'll leave you today with one of Eli's favorite quotes by Tim Notke. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Tim Notke, a high school basketball coach, is known for this quote that gained widespread recognition thanks to NBA star Kevin Durant and several other professional athletes. While natural talent can offer an edge, it's consistent effort, dedication, and perseverance that truly make a difference in achieving success. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. Please share an episode to help spread the mission about Blue Water Running, which is to feature and celebrate the achievements of high school and collegiate cross-country and track and field athletes from our area. You can follow Blue Water Running on Instagram, X, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube, along with athlete and meet reports and photos on the website at bluewaterrunning.org. Coverage of Blue Water Running is sponsored in part by Elite Feet of Port Huron. If you need running shoes, spikes, or apparel, they have a friendly and knowledgeable staff to help you find just what you need, and they've spent years supporting local athletes in our area. They're located at 327 Huron Avenue in downtown Port Huron. For Lindy Insurance, located in Richmond, Michigan, is a supporter of coverage also on Blue Water Running. Training as an athlete teaches you resilience and preparation. Apply those lessons to your life with their insurance plans. Be ready for anything with them by your side. You can visit verlindeinsurance.com or email Noah at verlindeinsurance.com for more information.